everybody. I'm Carolyn Crooks-Mueller. I came to the Art Council, this is my first time. So I spent many of my years in corporate life and made hundreds of presentations, so I suppose I can continue. And also, I think even more so, I spent the last 20 years in an art gallery here in town, Contemporary Fine Art Gallery in La Jolla. And of course, we have many artists. It's one of the routes, people, artists take. So. Anyway, I'm here to introduce two of our artists. First one is Todd Bradley. Thanks for your flyer also. It's in the back. He is a multidisciplinary artist whose practice spans painting, photography, printmaking, and artist books. And you'll hear about many of them where he gets many awards for him. His work navigates a range of themes, moving between deeply personal narratives and broader social and political commentary. Across media, his practice investigates visibility, voice, and the tension between personal experiences and collective history. Todd will be graduating from SDSU in December. Congratulations, with a Bachelor of Arts in Art History.
Hi, everybody. I want to thank SDSU, Anthony, and Cindy, the SDSU Art Council for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you. How do you process trauma? I want to talk to you about how I process trauma and how I use, my art to process my trauma. But first, I want to give you a little glimpse of my background because it shapes my art today. I'm gay, color vision deficient, and recently discovered I'm on the autism spectrum. I explore identity, chronic pain, and social political commentary through photography, painting, and artist books. My parents divorced when I was young, and I was enrolled in a religious prep school where I suffered physical abuse for being different. Then my parents enrolled me in a private religious high school, which was worse. They confused self-expression with the satanic panic that was happening in the 80s. So did my stepfather. The school asked me not to return, and I fought with my stepfather constantly. My mother then enrolled me in oil painting classes to give me direction and eventually survival through art. My plan out of high school was fashion. I was to attend the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles. I was accepted, but I didn't go. Instead, I ended up working at Bullock's Macy's for 11 years, managing the men's fragrance counter as a fragrance specialist. In high school, I had taken jewelry classes, and at this time, I was drawn back to working with metal. So I enrolled in the Point Loma Adult Education Center with Deb Jamont, where I studied for 7 years. This was a great opportunity for me because I was surrounded by SDSU, Arlene Fish alumni that use the Point Loma Education Center as their studio space. At this point, I taught myself photography to document my jewelry work, and I became drawn to fine art photography. I met my husband Walter, left Macy's, and opened up Walter Todd Salon. I earned my cosmetology degree and had the opportunity to work the Art Fashion Week, where I felt part of an industry that I had walked away from years before. After a bad photo review in Palm Springs, I started searching for critique and constructive feedback. So are my friends. We founded Snow Creek Collaborative, which is now a nationally recognized and highly awarded photography and art collective. And we have the opportunity to create, critique, and then refine our work. I began developing focused photographic portfolios that earned awards and recognition. One early series, The Protectors of Magical Seeds, examined seeds through macrophotography, looking at how these structures protect the DNA blueprint of the entire life of the plant. After this, I wanted to focus on something more playful and childlike, So I came up with the idea of what if bugs were the size of cars and we wrote them for transportation. This imaginative direction eventually evolved into the State of America, which is a critique of American culture. And that won me the London Creative Competition 2017 New Talent of the Year Award. Like most service members who face combat, my grandfather didn't talk much about the war. After my grandfather passed away, I was given a cigar box filled with World War II mementos. And I built dioramas of Omaha Beach to reenact the D-Day invasion that my grandfather was part of. War Stories I Never Heard explores the impact of discovering a loved one's military, World War II military stories after their death and longing for a more personal connection with them after they're gone. This work led to my first solo exhibition at the Griffin Museum of Photography after a photo review at the Median Photo Festival here in San Diego. You notice anything about the pictures? Nobody in them. Unfortunately, this exhibition took place in October 2020 during COVID, and nobody was allowed to go see the show. So if there's any curators here in the audience, I have a show ready to go. Then everything changed. I developed a superbacteria infection that nearly killed me. I was within 24 hours of dying before they found the right antibiotic. Then during COVID, I developed heart complications that required 7 cardioversions and eventually heart surgery. And then a motorcycle accident severely damaged my left side and created major financial hardship for me. I became very depressed after the accident and received an antidepressant that didn't agree with me, and I became very suicidal. Excuse me. At that point, I had received a psych evaluation that led to my PTSD and autism spectrum diagnosis. The trauma from this made me realize the one thing I regretted in life was not completing my education. So I enrolled in community college. And I studied art history and painting with the understanding that the history would strengthen my art, my own art, to study the history, theory, and ideas that shaped art before me. At City College, I developed an interest in agriculture and urban gardening. And I explored the effects of light and photosynthesis, which is 6 carbon molecules and 6 water molecules plus light energy gives you glucose. And I experimented with new mediums, per se. I used soil encapsulated in acrylic. I was angered by the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade and taking away rights. So I asked my neighbors what America and freedom meant to them. And I had them write their thoughts on framed chalkboards. I took their portraits, printed them on vinyl, and hung them on a neighbor's white picket fence, the epitome of the American dream. And here you can see Sarah Jacobs, Congresswoman, visiting the installation. Mend is a complete project from start to finish. It's a project about the environmental impacts of denim. I built a loom. I weaved Mend. It's a sculpture woven out of donated denim. I embroidered it to promote, visible mending. And I photographed the process. I created cyanotypes, and I made a Leporello book with writing about the weaving project. This project now hangs in the PSFA Dean's Office collection. These are some of my artist books. The top row is a book called The Mad King, and it comes in 3 versions. On the left there is the avant-garde version. It's a one-of-a-kind book with its own clamshell box. The middle is the couture version, which is a series of 6. And the last one is the ready-to-wear version, which is a zine. And I have copies of the zine here today. On the bottom row, is Muse, a book of curiosities, which is a book of printmaking. The center is the State of America, and the last one is War Stories I Never Heard, which won the School of Journalism and Media Studies Award at SDSU this year. These are some paintings that I'm currently working on, which touch on queer identity and longing. Mark making became the foundation for my C7 series on spinal stenosis, which is in the gallery today. What began as one experimental piece evolved into a much larger body of work. I used book pages, x-rays, MRI results, and I layered that with acrylic transfers and stencils to create a visual language of pain and trauma that reflects my daily experience of living with chronic pain. Anxiety and creativity share the same neurological transmitters in the brain. So when one is creative, the anxiety shuts off. It's also very difficult to talk about trauma. The area of the brain, the broca brain, shuts down, and this is known as speechless terror. Art therapy bypasses the language broca brain, clearing accesses to the part of the brain that encodes trauma. I combine my sewing skills into my work, creating additional layered meaning, and the syringe becomes a similar metaphor. Should I have my glasses? Golden elixir of hope to heal my pain. And I'm able to assign a narrative to the syringe to address the PTSD and pain that I live with daily. Thank you.
One question. When do you eat or sleep?
I barely sleep. I don't eat that much either.
Can you share what those numbers mean, like C7 and such, and the different areas of
Yeah, so the C7 is your cervical, so it's in my neck. And then the T11, that's in my center back. And then I have also a lumbar, that I did this lumbar. So the areas of my back that are damaged. Yes.
You have like a lot of different mediums throughout the years. Is there anything that you go to like for you, to like relax, to like relieve?
Painting, I think, like eases my anxiety the most. But they all do. Like I can really zone out when I'm building dioramas and photographing them as well. I guess photography was kind of, I guess, one of the first real arts that I spent a lot of time in, so I go back to that a lot. Yes.
Yes, does your chronic pain like affect your ability to make art, or do you ever feel like it consumes problem with painting, or like sitting for long periods of time? Like, does it make you alter your pieces, or like adjust around like how you're making it?
Yeah, sometimes it's getting started is the hardest part. You're feeling the pain, you're like, do I really want to do this? But I know that once I start, it will kind of go away. So I have to kind of force myself at first, but then it becomes easier. Thank you.